Our next guest maintains a buy rating on the stock and a $267 price target. Here to give us the bull case for Tesla, George Gianarikas, who is the Canacord Genuity Managing Director here. George, take us into your thesis here and outlook going into 2024.
So happy holidays and thanks for having me on. Look, Tesla had a difficult 2023 because, as you guys referred to, they had to cut prices in order to stimulate demand for their vehicles. And the goal was always to counter the impacts of interest rate increases and keep that monthly payment sort of the same. And there was some data out yesterday that talked about EVs finally sort of catching up to ICE vehicles, and that price gap being anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 on average. So we're pretty close. And as that gap closes, I mean, we believe that EVs are superior in almost every way to ICE vehicles. So we should really see adoption hit the S curve. Now, in terms of what the outlook is for 2024, the last conference call Tesla had was one of the most morbid I've ever heard. And I've been covering the stock for a long time. And what that did was it resulted in estimates for next year, for 2024, coming down. So Tesla's always had this aspirational goal of growing its units by 50% a year. The good news is that now consensus is about 20%. So people have already factored in this reduction in an outlook for 2024. So we'll see what they have to say about demand. We're at about a little bit less than 2.3 million units. The street's about a little bit less than 2.2, and we'll see where they end up. But ultimately, what people are looking to is not what happened this year, or might not even happen next year. It's the earnings growth outlook for 2025 and beyond. And we're close to $10 in earnings in 2025, probably more than that in 2026 and 2027, hopefully. And what we assume is obviously a lot of unit growth, but also a return to mid-20s gross margin. And over time, we think that margin has significant upside as they upsell full self-driving software to all the vehicles that are out there in the marketplace.
George, when you talk to investors, is there a subset that say, George, we appreciate your bullish take, we get it, we like what Tesla's working on, but we are not real fans of Elon Musk and how he has just come out here and on various social issues, and we are concerned about how this company might fare over the next few years because of what Musk does with X, SpaceX, whatever is the case. What do you tell them right now?
Well, so he is without a doubt a controversial figure. And says some things people don't like and says other things that people do like. But that hasn't changed in over 10 years. I recall, when people thought the company was going to go bankrupt in the late 2010s, he gave interviews where, he cried to a reporter. He smoked marijuana on the Joe Rogan podcast. So this ain't new news. He's who you have to take in to invest in Tesla stock. And thankfully, he's done an incredible job. I mean, he's being compared to Steve Jobs, right? And he's probably the tech titan of the last century. So look, people know who you're dealing with when you invest in Tesla. It's not new news. He's all over the place. We're fans, but that's for us to do. Ultimately, what matters with stocks, what matters is earnings growth. And we think there's a lot of earnings growth ahead for the company.
Even within a visionary leadership team, you still need realism as well at the end of the day, right, George? And so in terms of the targets that Tesla has really had to answer questions for, and quite frankly, on some of the both model side and even delivery of targets that they've set forward for the amount of vehicles that they might produce one day, they've missed on some of those targets. So for the bull perspective here, where do you still have to grapple with the missing of targets that Tesla continues to showcase?
Look, they've missed some near-term targets throughout the history of the company, without a doubt. They've actually beat some too. But when Elon Musk talks, when he's giving his goals to the world, it's not just for me and you and for investors. He's trying to inspire the 3, 4, 5 companies that he's the CEO of and he navigates. So he has to set those aspirational goals. And even if they haven't hit them all the time, I mean, look where the company's come from basically nothing, 10 to 15 years ago. So he has to be an inspiring figure and set targets that ultimately the company will hit. Look, he said himself, sometimes he's late, but he always gets there. And even with full self-driving, there's an incredible amount of skepticism that this company will accomplish what it wants to. We think he will. We think the company will. They've taken a completely different approach relative to other companies in the marketplace. They use cameras only, and they're using neural networks only, which means that they're relying completely on AI to navigate their vehicles. Other companies like Mobileye or Aurora that we cover take a completely different approach. And one of your previous guests mentioned that Tesla is not an AI company. We think they are the AI company because ultimately, real world AI is about self-driving. You're literally taking AI to navigate a vehicle from one place to the other. There's no more productive use of AI out there. Forget, chatbots and all this gimmicky kind of stuff. This is real world AI. This is where AI literally hits the roads and makes our roads more productive and more safe for everyone.
George Gianarikas, Canacord Genuity Managing Director. Always good to see you, George. Thanks for giving us time throughout the year. Happy New Year to you.
Likewise, happy holidays and happy New Year.
Appreciate it.